new podcast episode tonight. Tonight's episode is going to be how toxic jobs and toxic relationships are similar. All right, so I recorded with the FDS podcast this past week. Go ahead and check out their episode as soon as it comes out with me. I'll link it to this one because I'm shouting it out in here. But we talked about toxic workplaces and toxic relationships. I just could not get this off my brain, and I ended up expanding on my notes, and I want you guys to hear them all. I'm bringing this topic to life on my channel because it was a popular request from my audience. Heads up, everyone who's in the chat. Today, I'm going to experience some bugs with this camera. I don't know if it's because it's like lacking power or if it's like a connection issue, but basically every 20 minutes, it seems like the camera just like stops and pauses. Can we just, I know this is the one night you're not looking at me. Can we just appreciate this camera work today? Hey guys, I'm really sorry to interrupt. If you are an audio-only listener, this isn't going to bother you. But to my people who appreciate video podcast, me trying to be fancy today has resulted in some very choppy footage that I can't use in today's video. I really tried to make it work. Immediately after I end this, there's gonna be about 3 to 4 minutes where it gets really choppy, but then it gets normal again for the rest of the podcast. So my video girls, please just bear with me for that part. It'll come in and out and I have a visual for it so that it doesn't hurt your eyes. Sorry about that, but we'll be right back. Toxic workplaces and toxic men know that they want people who are going to put out the most for the bare ass least. They are looking for tools that they can use and abuse until they can no longer use them anymore. And then they go out looking for a brand new, shinier, younger, stupid tool. Once they've tarnished your opinion of them and they've tarnished you and you're all used up and abused, they will try to replace you. And this is about the relationship similarities with the toxic workplace and with the toxic man. Point number 1, they both operate with love bombing. They saturate you with warmth. You have the intro stage. Love bombing is a problem because there's a cycle when it comes to love bombing. So right away, as soon as you are entering that toxic workplace or you're entering that toxic relationship with a man, right out the gate, they're gonna saturate you with warmth and love. But the problem with it is that what is down the road is the discard. And something that toxic workplaces do, this is independent of relationships, but they'll be very strong with the claims of being family-like. But the thing is that the real way that they're like your family is that family has to put up with them. Family is stuck with them. Family doesn't have a choice whether they have that person in their life or not. Okay? Make of that what you will, y'all. But to me, family is code for people who will tolerate their dysfunction when no one else will. Toxic men and toxic workplaces, point number 2, they both want the most for the absolute bare ass least. This means that they want to get the most without giving anything to you. With jobs, this could look like not giving you training, not answering your questions. With men, wanting you to pick them up, wanting you to pay for stuff, wanting you to basically become mommy part 2. With workplaces, obviously becoming the ultimate slave. Is there any other way to say that? How would you guys phrase that? To me, that's what they want from you. They want you to be the ultimate, most exploited, like giving from your heart. Oh, look at how much you do for the company. Look at how much you do for the F-boy. Like, they like love that you don't respect yourself. It sounds so audacious and bombastic, but that's the tea. Oh my God, something that toxic workplaces will do when they're trying to get the most for the bare ass least is that they'll set up work events and work travel, and then they'll make it so that you have to go out of your pocket because you need the job or you want the job. They'll have you paying to work for them, just like how toxic men will have you paying to date them. Also, point number 3, what toxic relationships and toxic jobs have in common is that if they're jealous of you, they will try to sabotage you. There's endless amounts of content on this. I think we can leave that one at that. My 4th point, toxic men and toxic jobs don't just let you go. Sometimes they do. Sometimes, right? But for the most part, they try to get you to leave first by acting out of pocket. With jobs, they'll act unprofessional. With men, they'll try to give you a reason to break up with them. They both benefit from you being the one to leave first, especially when they're toxic. Sometimes a job will scapegoat you. They won't acknowledge your efforts. Verbal abuse, Men will, I guess, just be a shitty boyfriend, but we have to be very specific about that. They'll have you chasing them, and you will never be able to catch them. The reason why toxic men and toxic jobs haven't let you go yet, if you're still in that cycle of being treated dysfunctionally, is because they haven't found your replacement yet. And they're at peace with the toxicity that they're creating. Obviously, jobs have the benefit of not letting you go, because with these men and these jobs, before you even get to that stage where they let you go, just because you have a toxic workplace doesn't mean that you're a piece of shit or like you're a bad employee or that you have nothing to offer. Contrary to popular belief, you're not being treated like shit because you deserve to be treated like shit. These are just toxic people and toxic environments. Now we're at point 5. Toxic jobs and toxic men get new girlfriend syndrome. And that new girlfriend is or has less experience than you or less work experience. It's somebody who usually doesn't vocalize feedback. So they don't criticize, they don't critique, they don't manage up. It's somebody who has low standards for happiness and self-respect. It'll usually be somebody who's younger than you too. People say that that's a red flag in the workplace when everybody's young, because they're like looking for people that they can pay nothing to. They want somebody who doesn't recognize red flags as quickly. So you can always bet that your replacement is going to be all of the above when it comes to a toxic man and a toxic job. Point number 6, toxic jobs and toxic men will have you fighting for them. Okay, even though they don't want you, they will have you doing the most to try to prove your worth. It's always like this misplaced energy of trying to establish the truth to yourself and to them. I am convinced that the more that these toxic environments and relationships ask you to extend yourself when they're not reciprocating, the more that they don't respect you. They'll have you fighting for them until you're realizing that you're overcommitting and that you're working twice as hard. And you'll stop the moment that you realize that they keep pulling back. By the time that it ends, if you realize the situation for what it is, you end up breaking up with them mentally. That's actually my last point. But I do have some toxic workplace advice for everyone. This is not in my notes. I'm just going off of freestyling here. Most people will try to prove themselves until the bitter end. Most people won't stop until they prove themselves out of that job and into a new company, or until they prove themselves out of the company, which is usually going to be somebody who's fighting in the parking lot the day that they get fired because they're really clinging to that job and the value that that job gives them or whatever they think they need that job for. Toxic workplaces and toxic men, in my opinion, they have so much overlap and similarities when it comes to vague conversation, manipulative messaging, exploitation, because they both have so much to benefit when you are extending yourself. I think that toxic men and toxic jobs have so much overlap and similarity because, for one, male domination in the workplace is the origins of the workplace. They might have all-female environments, but they still operate on a code of rules and ethics that are predominantly supremacist-like in structure. Corporation-like in and of itself is based off of slavery themes of production and ideas of never being able to rest and ideas of like demonizing anything that's not pro-production 24/7. That's why you're going to find so many of those similar themes when it comes to how they treat you and what they expect from you and why they're exploiting you so heavily and why they tried to reward you for exploiting yourself and why you feel so deep in your heart like you have to fight to prove your value to these men in these jobs unnecessarily. But my point of today's topic, if you are in one of these jobs and has you out here trying to prove yourself and fighting for your worth, you guys do not need to do that. Like, the second that you are catching yourself being asked to do an unreasonable amount of things and you can't say no without getting breathing dragon energy, they're going to start turning into that red face monster emoji like, now I need you to do it. Do it by tomorrow. It's a timeline for something that absolutely doesn't need that fucking timeline. Objectively movable and can be flexible. They're just overloading your ass, or they're like speaking to you any which way. I would recommend that you start breaking up from the job immediately. But there are some other recommendations that I have if you're going to survive your toxic relationship and your toxic workplace. Because you guys, the headaches and the pain that you get from toxicity, whether it's a job or a man, is exactly the same. And if I can explain a little bit of it on a neuroscience level, we'll get a little anthropological now. That feeling of brain fog and always prepping for the fight and getting the work scaries and feeling like your heart is pumping. And then maybe you have some days where you just shut the fuck down. Your amygdala is swollen, ho. Okay, that's the part of you that's primal. You're literally in a situation where your livelihood is dependent in an abusive situation. In the world of dating, maybe it's not your livelihood, but it is this sense of self and this inner narrative of love and support system. And that is very primal to us to have that in our lives, because if we as humans, if we feel like we're not going to be in the pack, we feel like we're going to die somehow. Okay. So in our brain, whether we're going to say it out loud or not, we feel like the ending is death for us if we don't have the stability of work or the stability of a relationship. So first things first, you guys, you need to be getting your sleep. You need to be getting a full 7 to 8, 9 hours, whatever you need. Do not skip out on sleep, and do not skip out on meals. You're going to be so much happier when you start eating 3 meals a day. But if you're not somebody who can eat 3 meals a day, I'm going to make a smoothie recommendation. And this is not just any smoothie, ho. This is the smoothie that is going to quell your brain swelling, okay? Because that is the part that takes 2 to 3 years to heal from these toxic dynamics and these relationships. That swelling that causes you to be in fight or flight or even paralysis, the bed rotting, okay? This is gonna help you mitigate it. This is gonna help you lower it. This is going to be something that will even improve your mood in these environments. So it is the blueberry flaxseed protein scoop banana smoothie. And if you guys would allow me to explain, blueberries or any berries in this animal kingdom, okay, it can be blackberries, it can be strawberries, they have antioxidants in them that reduce swelling. So right away, you're injecting all of that into your body if you're putting these into your smoothies, and you're gonna need a lot of them, okay? Unfortunately, you're gonna need a lot. Do not be light-handed with the berries. If you can get a mega smoothie cup and just sip on that all day, you'll be good. But you're also gonna wanna get flax seeds, you guys. Flax seeds have omega-3s in them, and those are necessary for neurofunction. These toxic ass dynamics give you brain fog. That's going to be point number 2. When you are combining bananas and protein powder has, what is it? Theanine, L-theanine. This helps you stay calm and it regulates your mood. So even if somebody is throwing literal monkey shit at your face because they're acting ape shit, it's going to at least have you not act ape shit back and have you pounding your chest and doing push-ups for the next week. Panda season saying, so men are jobs. Given the stories of what women have put up with or been through, men sure seem like jobs. Yeah, honestly, they are jobs. They can't be. So that's the reason why you're going to want that smoothie. You're going to want it in the morning. You're going to want to take it at night. You can have it. You can sip it throughout the day, though. You don't have to like smash this thing back. It takes me literally 6 minutes to make it. I put on a podcast. I do it while I'm feeding my cat and making my coffee in the morning. And cleaning my little smoothie thing takes maybe 2 minutes. So it's really not hard to do. It's a small thing that's going to change your life. You don't have to buy fresh berries, you guys. You can buy the ones that come in the jumbo 13-pound. What is it? It'll be like a 3-pound bag that's like $13, or even sometimes like 7 or 8, depending on where you're getting it from. At least right now before the tariffs kick in. But that's my recommendation to you. Buy the frozen stuff if you can't always buy fresh. And it's going to save you so much money, and you're going to notice the difference. I noticed the difference. It like reduced my desire to be a people pleaser. I could see myself wanting to have the freak out, but like being observant enough in that moment and being so grounded, because that's what these situations do. They unground you. I could feel myself being grounded in the moment and not losing my shit and being able to be like, yeah, that's annoying. No, I'm not going to react to it. Because guess what happens, y'all? When you cry and you start frowning and you're like getting all tense physically and your body starts going inward and your back starts getting hunched and your chest starts getting tight, and then you start getting that knot in the back over time, like all of this stuff has such a negative effect on you. You're not going to be able to just think your way out of it. Unfortunately, this is a situation where like, yes, you're going to need your sleep. Yes, you're going to need your food. Yes, you're going to need to stay calm, because all of that shit will build up and stack up, and the body knows first before you do. I'm describing just like physically trying to avoid being in the fucking fight. Some people get heart attacks. I'm sure that you guys heard of them, where people were like talking online on TikTok about how like, yeah, the work is important, but your health comes first, because I got a stroke for my job, or my job gave me a heart attack. People like taking pride in working so much, or people like doing literal stimulants to keep up with what the job is asking of them. It's never worth it. It's never that serious. It's never that serious. Let the job flop. Let the job suffer from its own demands. My next recommendation, if you are dealing with a toxic man or a toxic workplace or a situation that you have to be involved in, my next advice to you is from a podcast called Toxic Workplace. It was from an antidote episode, but they said, even if that person is all of those things, when you show up to that place and when you're interacting with them, you cannot behave with them with the understanding of that story. Unfortunately, when you drop the story, you actually reclaim your mental peace. And it sounds so backwards because it's like you're gaslighting yourself out of it. No, babe, the story is true. You just have to stop telling yourself it. Don't tell yourself it, because when you get in that environment, it's going to be so obvious. Don't tell yourself that story, because when you walk into that environment, that story is going to be all over your face. You still have to show up and say hi. You still have to say bye. You still have to answer people's questions. You still have to respond to emails. You don't have to laugh at their jokes. You don't have to act like their ideas are the best thing ever. You do still have to be good at your job, though. And that's the next point that I want to make, is that even if this job is fucking shitty as fuck, or this man is shitty as fuck, or, you know, if they are both running you dry, man and job, while you technically could be horrible back, unfortunately, you have more to lose when you turn into a turd on these people. Because with the toxic man, let's say you start to act out of pocket. Now you're giving him screenshot material. Now you're messing up his property. You're like potentially at risk for jail, or you're elongating a toxic situation that you don't need to be in, and you're playing a game that's not necessary. When it comes to toxic workplaces, the reason why you don't want to show up and be a demon is because, unfortunately, you still have to be good at your job if you want to get another job. And it's not even because you're actually going to get a reference from this place, but because you want to be able to speak to your skills when you go to the next place, or you want to speak with confidence, or you want to know that you at least did your part 24/7, even if nobody was doing theirs and matching you on your level. This isn't about taking the high road and people always taking the low road and losing out somehow because of it. This is about how you are going to be better off leaping to the next destination if you know that you're a professional and you know that you treat people with kindness and respect, and that people like working with you and enjoy working with you. Did I ever let the demon out? Early on, yeah. And then I regretted it. Never go full demon, period. Look, there's benefits to not going full demon. It does not feel good after you go full demon to go full demon. Crying and screaming and yelling, it doesn't feel good to know that you have that in you in a way that other people have experienced. Okay, you can have that in you. That part can be very real. No, it's not necessary for the workplace. This is not about deleting the demon. This is just about knowing when the demon gets to come out and play. Taking it day by day. Well, I mean, it depends. What is the day by day? For me, I knew that, like, if I'm going to be in a situation that I don't want to be in, I don't want to burden everybody around me with stories about it. Like, nobody needs to constantly hear me talking about every shitty fucking day like it's a horrible Netflix comedy special. And I knew that, like, all these things that would happen day to day were things that would happen week to week, and the stories would never fucking end. So my advice to you guys, this whole day by day thing, maybe you need to realize that it's going to be a month by month and year by year experience. And ask yourself if that's how you want to spend your months and years. It was definitely not how I wanted to spend my days. And it wasn't how I wanted to spend my weeks. It wasn't how I wanted to remember my months. It was hellish. And every week was like, what type of headache am I going to get this time? It was actually so the fuck annoying. It was so annoying. I'm so glad I'm not dealing with it anymore. I really hope I never end up in another situation like that again. But who knows? At least I'll be able to spot it this time. Yeah, it got me to a place where I was like, dude, I just want a job where I just have this one thing that I do that I'm expected to do. Did I do it or did I not? Do I get to see my performance? If I ever got a great relationship plus work, I'd go off the grid. Yeah, me too, probably. Unfortunately, though, with both, you can still stay offline. I know with my toxic relationship, he wanted to keep me offline. All of my toxic relationships wanted to keep me offline because they were making you fucking miserable, and they don't want you open to opportunity and seeing new, nicer, greener pastures. Toxic workplaces are like that too, by the way. My last toxic workplace would not tell me the performance of my stuff on a weekly to monthly or daily basis. I had no idea how my content was converting unless it was the end of the year, analytics monthly, and sometimes they would forget to do them and then they wouldn't send them to us. I would never know if we had a month over month increase or a year over year increase. I had to finagle that information. So probably doing good. That's the saboteur. That's them not wanting me to know so I don't market myself. Because one thing a marketing girl is going to do is market herself around to the next opportunity. My final point is that you can't make your toxic job or your toxic relationship your entire identity. Nobody wants to talk to the person who's always talking about their toxic job and their toxic workplace. If your toxic man or your toxic job has you under showing up and underperforming, sometimes it's not the boss's bitch. It'll be the fucking coworkers. You guys have no idea how much I hate a jealous bitch. But okay, you know what? That could be the next topic. We'll do a quick closer for this one. All right, you guys, and that's the episode for how toxic jobs and toxic men and relationships are similar. Make sure to give me a follow on this podcast on Spotify. I saw a huge jump of followers on my last episode. Thank you guys so much for joining the community. If you guys are following on Apple, thank you so much as well. Make sure to leave me 5 stars because it helps support Fleeksy Supremacy and it promotes my podcast on all the platforms. And leave a nice comment because I always check those out. These episodes also go up on YouTube. You can follow it on the Fleekazoid YouTube channel. If you guys are watching from your Spotify premium account, you don't get ads. So recommendation for everybody who's potentially annoyed with those. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. I hope everybody has a good day. Bye.